Poisonous vibration. Help my body run. I'm running for my life. Running for my life. Sipping on straight glory. Let the vibe slide over me. This beat is a chemical. Beat is a chemical. When I leave, don't save my seat.
Need your pressure washing supplies fast? PPW Express brings you top brands, always in stock, and a mobile app that lets you order in seconds. Enjoy same-day shipping on every order placed before 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. Download the PPW Express app today.
Stand out with custom gear from Dab Marketing. No design fees, no minimum orders. Just premium sublimated shirts built for the service industry. Look professional, look sharp. Get your gear from Dab Marketing.
Happy Thursday, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? I'm Anthony, here with the host with the most, Trudy from down in the Panhandle. We got a couple of guests on here tonight with us. We're going to be covering a bunch of staining questions and got the experts on here with us tonight. But first of all, let's run through this. We got a couple of more shows coming up. We got the Stain and Seal University. It's going to be in Tennessee the 4th and 5th of March. That's just next week, guys. So if you ain't got registered for that, Miss Alana will throw our website up on the screen here in a little bit. Go over and get registered for that event. And then October the 8th through the 11th, we're going to have C. That's going to be down there in Orlando, Florida. And then November the 3rd, 4th, and 5th is the Panhandle event down in Panama City Beach. So y'all go to any of them and get registered for them right now. And we got Justen on here with us. Caleb from up in Tennessee. Mr. Rutho there, he owns the Stain University. And man, it's just a great time to have y'all on the show with you.
Glad to be here.
Justen sent me a list of things that he does, but I'm gonna let him run through that real quick, and then we'll get in and talk more about the show.
Yeah, I'm Justen Menses, owner operator of Making All Things New. Been in business since 2014, doing the staining side of things. We work out of the Omaha, Lincoln area, and let's see, what else did I send you? I guess we pride ourselves on doing lots of work. We enjoy working when our season allows us to. We typically do anywhere from 200 to 280 jobs every season. Staining, we don't venture into the pressure washing world. We love our niche of staining decks, fences, pergolas, occasionally a couple of houses, cabins.
Let me add to that.
200 decks, 50 fences, 30 pergolas. Is that a slow? Is that good or?
Yeah, that was our last year's season.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'll add to that. Justen, I guess you would say Justen is probably the most well-known and premier wood care guy in the Omaha area. He does decks a little different than other people. He does a lot of power washing, but it's all wood. He restores decks. He'll strip them. He'll remove old coatings or remove UV damage and stuff like that. And then they go in and stain them at a crazy fast rate. And they do everything by hand. So there's no spraying. They brush and back brush everything by hand, and they get a lot done. And so how many do you do a day on a good day, Justen?
On a really good day, probably 6.
Yeah. So think about that. 6 decks a day, 5 days a week.
Normally we do anywhere from 2 to 3 every day.
Yeah.
Depending on deck sizes. Those 6 decks, I'm talking like 10 by 10, 10 by 12. But yeah, on a good week, we can knock out 10 to 15 decks.
So that's cleaning, stripping, and then you gotta
so we're
paint it. So I guess there's gonna have to be a wait period in there somewhere, is there not? Or can
so we typically the way I set up my schedule is we'll wash So there's, for this year right now, we have 3 people that are working, plus myself. And so tomorrow, as an example, is Friday. We'll go wash. We have 2 fences to wash. And then weather pending Monday, they're ready to be stained. But as we're staining on Monday, someone is washing on Monday. And so once we get into the roll of things, there's someone consistently washing, and then we're just staining. And then there's usually a 48-hour time frame in between there. So if we wash on Monday, we're usually back by Wednesday to do our sanding, our pre-staining of sanding, blowing everything off, tarping, whatever we need to do, and then we stain it. So there's usually about a 48-hour in between washing and staining.
So and all your products come from Stain and Seal, I'm supposedly correct.
Yeah. We get our wood cleaner, we get our brightener, we get our hydroxide. I don't know if Caleb's talked about the new stripper that he has out, which we're looking forward to trying that out and seeing the results that we get. And then the stain we use, all our oil stain is from Caleb. And then if we're doing a solid stain, then we do Sherwin-Williams 9600 series.
Nice. So, I'm a washer, been a washer for years. My husband's all we do. So we had a house built and we had a nice big, huge deck built on the front. And of course we use stainless steel experts. It's user friendly, easy, but, all our driveway and walkway and everything is now got a beautiful cedar color because we don't do that. So, the best thing to do is if you're a washer and you are not trained or experienced or know how to do it correctly, you might want to give that job to somebody else, because if that wasn't my house, it would have taken me so long to get that cleaned up. So that's what they can learn at this expo. So hiring a professional or referring a professional or getting the training yourself is very beneficial to growing your business.
But if you did get some on somebody's driveway, I mean, you got stuff that's going to take it off. Correct?
Well, the best thing is preventative maintenance. So if you keep your concrete porous surfaces wet, that can be concrete, that can be certain types of siding, block work, whatever. If it's wet, if you keep it wet and stain gets on it, it just rinses right off. So if you had your driveway been wet, your sidewalk been wet down, you wouldn't have had an issue. If you do get stain on it, you can use a degreaser. There's a bunch of different tricks of the trade, but generally speaking, a degreaser, whatever you got on a power wash truck, will probably take it right off.
Yeah. One of the benefits of an actual oil stain is we all know that water and oil don't blend. They counteract each other. And so like Caleb mentioned, if that concrete's wet, you're avoiding that stain penetrating into the pores of the concrete.
Well, she could have just tucked some more stain and just sprayed it all over the rest of her drive and stuff. And
yeah, you can do that too.
Have you seen how much concrete my husband's laid? I'm running out of grass. That used to be where my garden was. I don't have a garden anymore. So no, it's I mean, it's good to get trained. It's great. I know it's profitable, obviously, because that's all you do. So if you're trained and you know what you're doing, I know every area is different, or is it not like house washing? House washing but a bunch of variables. If you got screened in porches, you're going to charge more because it's more liability. So when you are bidding, is it pretty much nationwide the same? Whatever square footage?
Yes. Let me ask you a question. So an average power wash crew of say 2 people, one truck, how many jobs a day are they going to be able to accomplish, and what's the average ticket?
It depends on where they live first. I mean, we can do probably 3 or 4 3-story beach houses in a day. And they can range probably $800 to $1,200 a day. But that's
per house.
Well, it's on the beach. They've all got these 3 stories, balconies everywhere, windows everywhere. But that's not common, and if you're going up to, let's say you're washing a house in Oregon, there's not a lot of mold. There's pretty much ranch styles. You don't have the fancy, you don't have, all that stuff. So, I mean, houses are probably 304 each, and they could probably do 3 or 4 a day.
Okay. So anywhere from 4, 8, 12, 16. So anywhere from $1,500 to $3,200 a day. In our market in Tennessee, you're looking at about somewhere around an $1,800 average ticket, and the average job, average crew can do 2 of those a day.
Nice.
And so, what about your market, Justin?
Yeah, last year we averaged $1,750
Yeah.
per
So,
job. So
and
we do
you're-
3 jobs. We're looking little over 5,000.
Yeah.
yeah, and if you're running a 50 to 70% margin, which is common for fences, more common to be around 50 or 60, decks
Yeah.
60 to 70, you're making pretty good money.
Yeah, that's good. And
Cool.
I mean, it's, I'm not saying it's easier. You got to be trained. It's a niche that you have to focus on. It's not like jack of all trades.
I would say it is probably less competitive than power washing, especially in Florida. Your market's pretty competitive, Justin. Omaha's a big stain market, so Nashville has become competitive, but generally speaking, it's in every town there's probably a couple hundred power washers. There's probably a dozen or less stainers, so a lot less competition. And if you're in the right market, every house has a deck, every house has a fence, every house has something wood, especially when you get around the lakes and in the mountains, you got cabins. So it's kind of a underserved market. I would say it's 10 times more underserved than anything else that I know of, really.
Yeah, I would agree. Because we've got a lot of pressure washing friends that we will switch off referrals and work. And the biggest complaint I hear is just the low balling, which happens in our industry. But
That's everywhere.
washing, it seems like it's a horrible, one guy might be charging 15 cents a square foot compared to the market saying 25 or 35 cents. I don't know what it is, but just, as an example. But yeah, I mean,
I don't know what makes people want to race to the bottom.
I don't know.
I think a lot of it is unintentional. So a lot of guys get into business and they don't know what to charge. Some people come into the business and, I grew up in the fence business. I knew how to quote. I knew how to figure my cost. I knew all that. And so when I went into staining, I could understand how to quote properly. But most guys, if you worked for the post office and you started a service business, you really don't know where your price needs to be unless you call some guys will call and get a couple bids over the phone or something, but you don't know if they know their numbers. So one of the things that we teach at Stain and Seal University is how to bid and how to understand your margins and how to understand your costs. And then excuse me, we also recommend that after the job is done, you do a job costing. So if you quoted it and you were trying to hit a 55% profit margin, but you completed the job and you hit a 35% margin, you catch it the same day. You can adjust your bids moving forward. And so I think that's the important thing. If, a lot of guys at the end of the year, and when they turn in all their receipts and they pay their taxes, they find out they made $9 an hour. Right. Yeah. And so, and so they're just living on cash flow. So the idea that we like to teach is to show you what your costs are and then how to grow a sustainable business and run it on a margin that will allow you the cash flow to grow your business, take care of your family, and take care of the families, the people that work with you. Justin does a really good job of that. And so he knows his numbers. And, but that's the thing. I don't think most people want to race to the bottom. The ones that I think race to the bottom the most are the big companies that have, they're not necessarily doing it to race to the bottom. They're doing it to get market share and to get customers so that they can sell out to like a venture capital firm. Like you see that in landscaping, you see it some in power washing, you see it in HVAC. And so the big guys are the ones that get really big and want to gobble up the whole market. They're the ones that are hard to compete with. The little guys usually aren't too bad because little guys need work too. And their customer is not necessarily my customer, Justin's customer. If you see all of Justin's jobs, it's nice homes. They've got nice cedar decks. They got nice cars in the driveway. They're families, right? And so I still think there's a lot of people that maybe have lower income or fixed income. They still need the cheap guy to come out. So we just try to let them have that stuff, and we go after the good ripe fruit, the good low hanging fruit.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it too for newer, I was one of those guys. I worked at the post office and I enjoyed doing a deck for $500 as extra money. But if I continued charging $500, I would never make a business out of it. I'd be bankrupt. But yeah. And I think like for myself, just being part of the community and not being afraid to ask questions and finding, for every bad apple, you're going to have 8 or 9 good people who will be willing to listen to your questions and educate you and help educate you, as long as you have some humility to realize, you're not doing things right, and accept advice and direction from those who are experienced, who went through the same mistakes and learned from it.
Yep.
And so, I talked to a guy today who stained last year, and he lost $3,800. He didn't make any money. He ended up losing money, and he had the humility and the courage to call me up and introduce himself to me and tell me that he's been bidding against me and what happened last year and how he could fix it. And he's like, I know you might not help me out. I am a competitor. And I'm like, you're not a competitor. You're just another company offering the same services. We can be great friends, and I've got no problem sharing what I know with you, because anybody can chat GPT today. Anybody can YouTube. Anybody can do that. But why not share information, knowledge, and experience of our local economy so that we can both grow and provide the best service possible to our customers and our client region that we have.
I forgot that you worked at the post office, so my example was great.
You just jabbed him, didn't you?
Yeah, I was your postal carrier who raced through the streets to get his route down in 4 hours so he can spend 3 hours staining.
Yeah, I imagine you made a note of every deck in the area when you were running your route.
I see in a lot of groups where, we talk about door hangers, and I hear a lot of people talking about mailboxes. And it wasn't until I worked at the post office that I found out that that's a federal felony. So if your carrier wants to be a prick or a Karen, and they, making all things new, I don't have a door hanger nearby, but, I stick it in that mailbox, that carrier can take that flyer, that door hanger, whatever postcard that you left in there, notice that it wasn't stamped or that you didn't pay for it, take it back to the post office, and they can turn it over to the postmaster marshal, I think is what their title is. And they can open an investigation and find out if you're consistently doing it, and you can be facing federal felony charges.
Wow.
And at best, they're gonna charge you shipping on every single one.
Yeah. And so if they find one, because I know one case of a roofer here in Lincoln, it happened. They found in multiple occasions at least 1 or 2 throughout the neighborhoods, and they ended up settling with him to pay 15,000 mailers. Because of the area he was in. They estimated that either we take you to court and have a judge find you guilty or not guilty for a felony, or you can compromise and pay for 15,000 mailers the price it would cost you, because there's no way of proving you didn't do it, and there's no way of proving that you did, but you're fighting the post office.
It's the chance you're going to take.
Well, I'm sitting here with these illegal buckets from the post office. They gave them to me. They gave it to her.
Yeah.
These are my every door direct mail. This is legal.
Yeah.
I paid for my shipping.
So we've made every mistake you can think of.
Yeah.
And I'm not too prideful to say that. We've put them in the mailbox. And we've had the postal service, hey, we found your mailer. Just so you know, it's illegal. Please don't do it again. Next time we find it, then we're not just going to give you a warning call. But we went from that, and it's easy and quick, to just putting it on the door. And what we have found personally is that when you go up to the door, everybody has a Ring, Nest, whatever brand of camera. And a lot of times the homeowner will, whether it's from work, whether it's from wherever, they'll ask you, what are you doing? Hey, we're here with making all things new. We're in the neighborhood doing some work, and we just thought we'd drop off a door hanger, let you know that if you need a deck that's pergola washed, we're working in your neighborhood, and we just want to introduce ourselves. And then other times you'll have somebody who actually comes to the garage, and it's a great sales opportunity. And then the likelihood of it being on the door handle, they're going to see it, whether they're going to throw it away, keep it, or whatever, compared to I had one gentleman tell me he just throws it into their driveway. And I'm like, well, now you're littering. If I come home and I'm tired from working and I find 5 or 6 mailers thrown in my driveway, I'm going to be pissed. I'm not going to sit there and look at it and go, oh yeah, I need a house washing, or I need my trees trimmed. I'm gonna be like, you dick, what the hell are you doing?
I've had that happen to me with
Yeah.
my rig sitting in the driveway and come in from somewhere, and I noticed there was a piece of paper that was rolled up with a rubber band around it. I said, "What is that in the driveway?" Well, I got it, looked at it, unfolded it, and it about the size of a door hanger, I guess, and it had all the information and stuff on it. And I thought, no, you just littered up my yard.
Yeah.
So what
That's
kind
the
of?
way it goes.
I mean, how you gonna take care of my house? You can litter my yard up.
Well, yeah, and then if you have like an HOA, and you do that to like my son Christian, he loves door hangers, and he's had homes where he's delivered 100 of them. And so if you're the kind of company that's throwing them into people's driveways or yards, you've now just littered 100 homes.
Mhm.
And if the wind grabs them and blows them, one neighbor may have 50 door hangers sitting at the end of the street, sitting in his yard. And that bad word's going to travel quick.
And another thing, people have these stencils, and in some counties, that's called reverse. What is it? Not tagging.
Graffiti, I guess.
Graffiti, yeah, reverse graffiti. And people's like, why? We're leaving it clean. I was like, but you're still damaging. I mean, you're making it look bad. So now it looks even worse than it did before. But everybody's like, oh, I'm going to get one. I said, well, you better check where you live, because you start doing that. Well, no, we'll come back and clean it. I'm like, so who's going to see it? You leave it long enough for somebody to see, then it's a nice concept, but you can still get in trouble.
Yeah, guerrilla marketing.
Yes. So, Caleb, I had I do the industry paint issues. I've been doing this for years. I think you've seen me at one of my first classes that I taught.
Yeah.
I was scared and nervous, and nobody could hear me because I'm a little Minnie Mouse voice. But I had a local guy here that washed the house, and it changed, but it also changed the deck, the stain on the deck. And I know your product does not do that.
You're probably talking about a water-based type product.
Probably.
Yeah, that's similar to the chemistry of the paint.
Yeah. So we've washed our house, but it needs washed again. I keep telling my husband, hey, we got all these rigs out here. We got 5 trailers. I got mold on my house. Let's go. So, and we've had your stain on there since we built the house. As I think 3 years now. And we've washed it probably every 6 months because we have to, because we live in the mold capital of the world, I think. Here with all this stagnant stuff. It should be the state flower. I always tell people mold should be Florida state flower, but it hasn't faded, it hasn't damaged, it hasn't done anything. So the quality of your product and just for you giving the knowledge out how to use it correctly is just, I respect you for that, and I applaud you for that, because I like to inform and educate people on anything we sell. And I've called you guys quite a bit because I'm like, hey, I've got a customer, this, and I'll get answers before I sell a product, because I don't want them going out willy-nilly damaging something. So for you guys that do the same up there at Stain and Seal Experts, I know I hear it all the time. And if I don't know the answer or I can't get a hold of somebody, I'm like, hey, call them. They've got a phone number, you can call them. But so I appreciate you for that. But can we talk about the event? Can we pull up the schedule and see what's happening there?
Yeah, we sure can.
And what's going on? Oh, there it is. Look at that.
There we go. Look at that. Look how prepared we are. Yeah. So it starts next Wednesday. The doors open at 8 and classes and things begin around 9 o'clock. And as you can see, we're going to talk about, kind of an introduction to the industry. We're going to do a hands-on fence staining class. And then we've got a keynote speaker, Tom Camacho. He's going to kind of, it's a keynote speech, but we're talking about building a business to last, growing a business that endures. He's a best-selling author, so it's going to be a good keynote there. We got lunch in the trade show floor. In between each one of the classes, the trade show floor will be open, but we'll have specific time around lunch for everybody to get in there and see that. From 1 to 2, we've got this industry and business 101. So basically, this is where I'm going to tell you about the staining and the wood care industry. I'm going to get you excited about it, talk about the numbers, talk about the growth, talk about the opportunity. Then we're going to do a hands-on deck staining class. That class will be indoors. We've got a bunch of miniature decks made with miniature decks with full-size decking boards. And so we're going to show hands-on how to do those and let everybody do it. Justen's going to be a big part of that. and he can probably stain those 4 decks in 5 minutes. And so we'll see how that goes. And then we're going to do a question and answer panel, and that'll be there's some names here on the list: Justen, Tom, a guy named Chris Johnson, who's a very, very technical cabin stainer. Sean King's a fence installer, big business coach in the fencing world. And then at night, from 5 to 8, we've got kind of a big pavilion. We got a fire, we've got barbecue, and a mobile cigar bar for all you cigar aficionados. So that'll be day one, and it'll be jam-packed. So that'll be super exciting. If you want to scroll over to day 2, I can tell you about that. So day 2, doors open again at 8. Just going to get you hyped up from 9 to 10, get everything started. And then we're going to do a class on pre-staining. So as the staining business grows and morphs, we're seeing a lot more demand for stain wood that's already stained, because a lot of installers don't want to stain it. They just want it already installed. They want to install it already stained. And so there's 2 things that stain contractors can do. We can sit and watch our industry slowly move to that, and we can stain whatever is left over, or we can learn how to do this ourselves and expand our season, because we can do pre-finishing indoors. We can do it when it's raining, when it's snowing, alongside of our regular staining business. So the idea is we want everybody to be able to offer that service. It gives you a stronger business. And then our keynote speaker, this is the big one. His name's Chip Gallant. He is a Petra coach, which is it's one of the biggest business coaching organizations in the world. You have to be a Petra coach. You have to have led and exited multiple companies. I think the biggest company Chip coaches is about $650 million a year company. And so really a lot of information there, but the conversation he's going to have with you is about planning and strategic planning, which is something most contractors don't want to hear about, but it's probably the number one thing that they could do to take their business to the next 5 levels up. Then we're going to have lunch in the trade show floor, and then bidding. So we were talking about bidding earlier, and I saw somebody make a comment where you can pay yourself at least $30 an hour. What we want to teach you to do is to figure, if you're doing the work yourself, that's fine, but you have to account for that labor. And we want you to bid as if you weren't there and as if you were paying someone to do the job. And then your margin you make on top of that, that's where your company makes its profit and covers its overhead. So we're going to go into all the bidding basics on how to bid fencing and decking, but also kind of some concepts so you can move forward with your business in the future. And then Bam Bam, everybody knows Bam. Michael Taylor is going to be doing a wood restoration class to end it. And then, or to end it, we'll do a Q&A panel where we just get everybody. There'll be a lot more people up there than that. But we'll have a Q&A panel, and those questions we have to shut it off. There's so many questions, we can't get to all of them. So that's that. While this is all going on, there's going to be plenty of food trucks there. We're going to have indoor and outdoor booths, indoor and outdoor hands-on training. We will have a bunch of podcasters will be there and broadcasting live the entire time. So that'll be fun. So hopefully a bunch of guys will jump on those podcasts and get their name out there, and that'll all be streamed on the internet. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on all the places you find podcasts. So it'll be a lot of fun. And the best part about it is meeting like-minded people that you can call on in the industry, and then hopefully somebody that can mentor you. Because if you're in the room, there's going to be somebody bigger than you there, and those kind of people will help. And so you can get tickets. We've got hotel rooms blocked off, so you'll be able to get a room, and it's close enough to the airport. I know a lot of events in the industry are free, and we moved to a much bigger facility this year, and it costs big bucks to do it. And so we've got a small fee. It's $79 a ticket, and that will be the cheapest part of coming. So if you're flying across the country, getting a hotel room for a free event, $79 more is about the cost of a good dinner. So we hope that will be worth it for everybody. But when you do come, you're going to get a big bag full of goodies. I think there's about $150 worth of value in the bag you get. So that'll cover your ticket cost, if nothing else. And then that's going to be kind of the show. So we're excited. I know we got Ford trucks will be there. Graco sprayers will be there. All kind of other vendors will be there too. So you can see the cool tools. Power wash, Trudy's going to be there. There'll be fence tools there. We'll have some industrial equipment is going to be showing off there for some people that are into that. And so it'll be a pretty cool event, and super excited.
Now, looking at that lineup, people that are just not wanting to do staining, there's some speakers there that can help them grow their business, may it be pressure washing business or window washing.
Yeah, I agree. A good friend of mine has been he's been in HVAC and electrical and plumbing for probably 20 years, and I kind of poked him and said, hey, and he finally went out on his own this year, late last year, and I've invited him. He's going to come to the class. It's going to be super valuable for him. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. This is specific to wood care, but the speakers that we bring in are specific to business. And so if you're whatever you do, if you're thinking about starting a business, if you're thinking about starting a concrete grinding business, come to this event and you can learn something about it.
And the $79, guys, that's cheap. I mean, you think of in our industry, just in our pressure washing, I mean, we pay hundreds to $300 to get in like the huge stuff and PW&A and stuff like that. And then the times you have to pay extra to get in to hear the speakers too. So the $79, it's well worth your time to come out. If you can't stay both days, you at least get one day in there and get a lot of questions answered and everything. But the $79, that's cheap. And like you said, it's well worth the time that you're going to put into it to come up there or out there.
If you come and you put the stuff you learn from not only us, but all the speakers and the people you meet, it's worth well over $1 million to you. So you got to come, you got to do the work and put in the work, and good things will happen.
And the networking, like I say, every event I go to, the networking, you can speak to or talk to your speakers or your trainers. You can talk, and you can talk to fellow contractors and fellow stainers, and you can learn so much just from sitting there and having a beer or a cigar and just yapping. I mean, to me, that is worth more than the $79. I go to these events most of the time. I think most of the time I don't do booths. I just go there. I support whoever's having, hosting it, and just go there to network and talk to people and learn from them. I've never left an event, including yours. I was there, 5 years?
Yep.
Something. I've never left without learning something. And if you think you know it all and you think you can do it all and you don't need it, then you're wrong, because the substrates are changing, the chemicals are changing, the equipment's changing. You need to stay on top of it or you're going to fail in the end.
One thing that's important is that most contractors, especially smaller owner operators, you feel like you're on an island because you work with your customers, you go do the job, you work with your team, you go home to your family, and you don't have much time left. A lot of guys aren't able to get out and be a part of big business groups or go to, travel all across the country multiple times a year. So when you get in a room like this, you're going to have hundreds of people in there with you that you can bounce ideas off of. Hey, what are you doing for your insurance? Hey, how are you? I heard you're offering, insurance to your employees. How are you doing that? I heard you're doing retirement or benefits. Or I have this problem. I got, maybe I got a great producer who's got a terrible attitude and he's stealing out the back door, and you're going to have people there that'll strengthen your spine and say, hey, you got to get rid of them. Here's what happened to me. Here's what I did. And it's just a great opportunity to get around business owners and grow your business, grow your mindset. You notice when I did mindset, I did this because I think we're entrepreneurs. We're all just a little crazy.
I mean, when I was there, I go out and educate, and I mentor, and I help everybody that I can help. And when I was at your event 5 years ago, I learned so much. I was in awe of the guys that you have up there speaking. I'm just sitting there like, I did not even think of this. I didn't know that. How did I not know this? I should have known this, but I didn't know it. It just wasn't something, when you're a contractor and a business owner, sometimes one overweighs the other. So I love just getting out there and doing it. I got a mental wash day. I'm out there cleaning stuff. And then the business side, you don't necessarily think of things that they can come up with. And I was just in awe and amazed of what they were saying. And I learned so much. And I don't even do staining. So it was just great just to hear their knowledge and their experience. And I think anybody that can make it to this should make it to this. It's just, I mean, I left with a lot of knowledge. My husband didn't, because I've got stain on my concrete, but everything else I learned.
Yep. And one thing to mention, I know a lot of industry associations require continuing education.
Yes.
I can't remember how many hours. I guess it'll be somewhere around 16 hours, but you'll get, if you come, you will get a certificate with continuing education hours. We are approved, accredited with the American Fence Association, and I do believe many of the power wash associations will recognize our hours as continuing education. And so if you need those hours, or your team needs those hours, bring them and get it done.
Would that be,
I
would that
won't take
go,
my pen off. I'll leave it on the wall. I won't pull it down this time.
does that recommendation, does that say, if I just go, does it go through my whole team? Or would it just each individual? Or
It would,
will it
each individual who attends will get a certificate. Yeah, I don't want to give them out for people that don't attend. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, anybody who comes will definitely get one. It'll be a big.
Yeah, say, well, no, but see, like if take hood cleaning for example. If I'm certified, if my company's certified, that means everybody that works for me can go out and clean hoods, right?
Maybe in that industry, we don't offer any kind of, there is no certification for staining at this point that's recognized by governing authorities. Maybe it may be that way in hood cleaning, but not in staining at this point.
So if you took the class, you got certified, if you were able to teach your employees exactly every word verbatim that Caleb or Michael taught them, then maybe. But
well, when you pair it up with all the content that's online nowadays, between Justen makes content, a bunch of other guys, we do, Everett Abrams makes content. There's plenty of stuff out there, and if you learn, what I say, it's kind of like when you get a pilot's license. When you get your 40 hours and you get your pilot's license, it's a license to learn. You're not a pilot yet, right? You got to get hundreds and thousands of reps and hours in before you can really be considered a pro. And so that's what this is. We're going to teach you concepts. We're going to cut out, the learning curve. If a piece of paper, if we from A to Z is this far, we want to bend it and get you from A to Z a lot quicker. And when you leave, you're not going to be able to go do a $400,000 cabin restoration, but you might have a person in your cell phone that you met that can help you get and complete the job. And so it takes time, like anything else. We're not miracle workers, but we can definitely save you a lot of mistakes along the way that you would just make naturally.
Yeah, I would say that certification is a living document. Because if you just go to one Stain and Seal University event, or a wood defender class, or an Everett Abrams class, you got a lot of knowledge. You got a lot of things to start with. It's not going back to his question. It's, you can go back and teach your guys, but you're still teaching them. Like I've been doing it for 12 years as a business owner, and we're still learning things each and every day. No deck is the same as the previous deck. Everything, you always run into one. I'm sure house washing is the same way. You go with the mindset of, easy day, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then you get to the job site and, I don't know, 30 squirrels decided to take a crap on that person's deck, and it's staying on that fresh and clean deck. And, you got to figure out, okay, do we need to rewash this? Is there a way to sand this off? Is there, so there's always, just like with the certification, you went to the class, you got it. That's just the beginning point of what you need to build off of.
Yeah.
And you'll learn trends, right? The more you do it, the more you'll learn how certain things behave, how certain products behave, how certain woods clean. Because I can look at wood and go, that one's going to be really easy. And I can look at that one and say, that one's actually going to be hard, or it's going to be fuzzy. And there's not much difference in the way they look. But a little bit of time, a little bit of elbow grease and getting your hands dirty, you'll figure that out, and you'll start to recognize things. And I think that's really important for people that have salesmen. If you have a salesman working for you that's never been on the tools, he's never been out and done the actual work, it's very hard for them to quote accurately based on what it actually takes to get a job done. So coming to a class like this can get you a little more understanding of actually what's going on the job sites, but nothing at all will beat hands-on getting your hands dirty.
So I get this, I see this all the time on the Facebook groups. Somebody shows a picture of a deck or a fence, and they're like, hit it with 6% bleach and rinse it off. Bleach on wood. What's your thoughts?
Well, bleach is used in the paper making process, so it's made it breaks wood down, and this is the same with bleach. It's the same with strong hydrogen peroxide. If you put something on the wood that's really strong and the pH is way high or way low, you're dealing with a situation that the pH isn't right. The stain won't accept properly. If you throw bleach on a deck or on a fence, it's going to turn the fence white. It's going to fuzz it up and all that. But later, if you don't neutralize that later, after you stain it, you can have white spots or white residue come back through the wood, because every time the wood gets wet, it reactivates that chemical. So the best thing to do, if you're going to use bleach, use like 2 or 3%, 1% even will work on some projects, but use a brightener, something to come back and neutralize it, and it'll stop the chemical from working. And you know, a lot of during COVID, people were power washing and cleaning like playgrounds with strong bleach, and kids were getting burned on it. You know, after, you know, and so we know this is a thing, and so it is very satisfying to spray a hot mix on a wood fence. You see it, all these companies advertising their bleach products, and it goes, wow, look at that. But then when it, you know, when it's wet, it looks like cedar, but when it dries, you bleach this right here, it's going to be white as paper when you're done. So so being a wood care contractor and educating your customer and learning the proper processes, maybe it is a little more work, maybe it costs a little more to do it that way, but most people are good customers are certainly willing to pay that extra. I know Justen, he does it right every single time, and his customers gladly pay for it. So learning the steps is one of the things, and the proper processes will make you that go-to person in your town, where, you know, you don't want to be the guy just throwing bleach on wood because you're just because I'm going to come do the job next door and mine's going to look better. And eventually people catch on to that.
Yeah. And people will notice the smell. Like, that's been huge with everything that we use, because when we started off, we were using Super Deck, TWP. I'm trying to remember all. I mean, we've tried everything. And the first time we used Expert Stain and Seal, or Stain and Seal Experts at the time, the first customer we used it on, they couldn't, because we had done their deck previously with TWP, and she was like kind of frantic because she didn't get home in time to close her windows. Previous time we were out there, that smell got into their house, and it took days for it to finally get out of there. The mineral spirits and just the additives that are added to a lot of these modified oil stains. And so we love the Expert Stain because it doesn't stink. It doesn't smell. It's not going to burn your skin if you get speckles or you get some drops on there. And the same thing with the cleaners. If you educate yourself on what cleaner to use, the proper amount, you're not going to have issues like the fuzzing. You know, had a gentleman ask, why did this fuzz and it didn't fuzz on this? Well, you know, what was your dosage, cup per gallon? You know, and they're like, well, I used 3 cups per gallon. That's way too hot. No wonder so, you know, just, yeah, it's just like the bleach. You know, I can throw sodium hydroxide that I over strengthen on something, and it's going to ruin it, just like if I over bleach a piece of wood in different ways. But with the bleach thing, my brother-in-law, full disclosure, he builds decks, a very reputable company here in town, decks, and more decks. And he's watched those WOW videos, and his first expression is, you're killing your deck, or you're killing your fence. Do you not realize? And I don't ask him, you know, are you pro bleach, anti? That's not what I'm trying to get at.
Right.
If someone who builds things with wood sees that WOW video of gray to, you know, like Caleb's door behind him, look, yeah, it gets that stunning effect. But in long term, you're ruining your deck, and that's what my brother-in-law says. You just killed, you know, 2 years off that deck by throwing bleach on it like that. And then if you go 6 or 8%, like we see some of these videos where it's, you know, black, and all of a sudden you throw the bleach on there and it's like a brand new looking wood structure. He's like, he just killed that deck by half.
Yeah. It's all about the tools and getting educated on what to use. You know, I downstream clean. That's all I do, downstream. You know, I mean, 99% I'm using bleach. I mean, unless it's over waterways or something else. Or we don't do wood, so that's why I wouldn't do that. But, you know, having the right tool, the correct tool, and being educated on what to use on what substrate, you can then educate your customer. That gives you a step up on your co-stainer, your co-washer, co-contractor. So just getting educated and learning what correctly to use. That way you can educate your customer. That's gonna give you a leg up and land that job.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm bashing bleach or SH. There's a place for bleach. I know a contractor, very reputable contractor, who uses it a lot for maintenance cleanings, and he's doing, I think, 1%, if that, and he's just trying to kill any organics that might be there. He's not going for that wow factor, and then he throws a surfactant in there to assist with that cleaning, and so he's not over bleaching the wood with that white effect, but more of treating just like you would on a house wash. So I don't want to sound like I'm bashing, bleach. There's a place and a time for it.
Right.
I just feel for us personally, and I think Caleb feels this way, is if you're trying to provide, you can be the $500 deck guy and be known as the $500 deck guy, or the 99 deck or 99 gal or gal who comes out and does house washing, deck washing, whatever. Or you can use the proper products, do things the proper way with proper steps and procedures, and be the $1,750, $2,000 person. And it's not because you're stealing the shirt off the person's back, but you're taking the time and the steps and the right chemicals, the right materials to provide the best results for the best buck. And
they don't have to re-fence or re-deck in half the amount of time they would have if you would have doused it with 6%. Yeah.
So if I use sodium metasilicate, it's considered a mild stripper, if I'm not mistaken, right, Caleb?
Yes.
Yeah. And so if I apply it incorrectly, like overusing it, and I don't rinse it and I don't neutralize it with a wood brightener or an oxalic acid, I can have the same risk of someone burning their feet if it, you get a heavy dew, or if it rains overnight and they walk out there, it could activate it and burn the bottom of their feet like bleach would. And even worse if it's a sodium hydroxide or a sodium potassium hydroxide. So using your chemicals correctly and responsibly is not just important to you, but to the homeowner and to your surrounding area.
Yeah. So also, when my husband stained our deck and our driveway, he put in an additive, and we have not had any of those carpenter bees in any of our decks. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, I will. But before I do, let me just break down what Justen said about being the $1,700 or $2,000 deck guy. If you're staying in a deck for $500, you're going to have at least you're probably using a cheap product, but you're going to have a couple $100 in material and labor, right? So if you're lucky, maybe you made $100 or $200 on that job, and you can't do a great job at that price because there's just not enough money there. But if you're the $1,700 or say the $2,000 guy, and you're running bidding properly, you're using the proper procedures, chemicals, you're running a 60 average deck, 60% margin. That's $1,200 in gross profit on one deck job. How many decks? You got to do 6 $500 decks to maybe get anywhere close to that. Yeah. And so the idea is bidding is working smarter, not harder. We're not talking about taking advantage of people. I mean, if you look at Netflix and things like that, it's like a 99% profit margin. We're talking about a 60% profit margin. 50% is where you finally start to come up for air, and you can breathe. You can invest in your into your company. You can get the new truck every 3 years, whatever you got to do. But that 50, 60, 70% gross margin is the standard in the wood care business. And so be the guy who's taking advantage of that, because that will make all the difference at Christmas time, all the difference when it's time to look at your retirement account you're saving, all the difference at when you had an emergency, your transmission goes out, you just go, all right, just fix it, right? Versus panicking and shutting down and losing revenue. And so it's a good thing to do it the right way, and there's reasons for it, and hopefully that maybe illustrates some of that.
Well, and I think too often also, I'm just thinking of the gentleman who message and said $30 an hour. It's easy because I did it for years. It's easy to sit there and go, okay, it's going to take me 6 man hours to wash and stain this deck, 3 gallons of stain, 2 cups of cleaner, 2 cups of brightener, some, tarps, whatever, and sit there and go, okay, I need $200 of expenses and I'm going to charge this much. So I'll have $800 profit. And that was a terrible mindset and way of doing business for me as a business owner, because I'm not taking into account travel time. I'm not taking into account the vehicle maintenance and fuel. I'm not looking at marketing expenses. I'm not looking at workers' comp insurance, business insurance. I'm not looking at my taxes, my unemployment that the federal government or state government's going to take out. So when you think of profit margins, some people might sit there and go 60 or 70. Are you nuts? That's not your put in the bank profit. That's before you come home and then you start taking your back room or your behind the scenes expenses out of that 50 or 60%. So by the end of the year, I think we were lucky to get 27, maybe a little bit lower. Don't hold me to that, but if we average 50 to 60, but by the time you take out your administrative and all the back, behind the scenes expenses that we forget about, you have to be charging that in order to cover those and then have something to take care of your family. Because I don't want to stain just to make $30 an hour, because I did have that mindset. I can go work at TSA and make $30 an hour and not deal with the stress of paying my employees and dealing with customer service and dealing with Facebook posts and all the other tasks that we put hours into that we're not billing the customer $30 an hour. Yeah,
I agree with that. And if kind of a sweet spot for a staining service business is 25 to 35% net profit. And that is net profit after you've paid yourself. So it's great to be able to pay yourself. And then at the end of the year, you see if you did $1 million in business, you got 350 grand on top of your salary sitting there that you can bring on the new crew. You can rent the warehouse. You can do the things. You can upgrade the website. You can do all that stuff. And that is what changes family trees. And so that's what we're passionate about. So I'm going to talk a whole lot about that at this event. You talked about natural defense.
Yes.
That's, in our industry, our company at Expert Wood Care, it's important to us to make products that are safer to be around than other products. There's always a risk when you're using any kind of chemical. If you're spraying water, you need to protect yourself and wear a mask. But we always do those things in mind. We don't have a ton of additives. We don't have any additives in our stains other than just the basic raw materials. And our stains have recently been Greenwise certified. We're the only stain in the world to have that rating, which is just an eco-friendly rating. You can go online and read about that. But our natural defense was kind of the answer to a lot of these products on the market that are very strong chemicals. They're poisons that kill bugs for carpenter bees, boring insects, termites. And so we made a blend of, I think it's 6 essential oils. It's pure essential oils. It's an 8-ounce container. You can mix it in stain and apply it when you stain your project. You can then later create a recurring revenue stream by coming back, washing the fence once a year. And when you're done, you can literally downstream this stuff and spray it right on the wood and redo it every year. And so when we do maintenance with natural defense, we literally downstream it. And it goes right in the wood. It can be mixed with water. You can put it in a pump up sprayer. So it's a cool product. We're not pest control guys, but it's a great way to make your yard uninviting it works. It keeps rats, iguanas, ticks, fleas, mosquitoes. It works kind of on everything. So they wouldn't let me put iguanas on the label, but it definitely will keep iguanas away. That was kind of a struggle there for a while, but
it does work too, because my chicken coop is right next to my back porch, and that does attract rats. And we haven't had one come through the doggy door and eat the dog food, so I think it works. But we don't have any carpenter bees either. But all the other wood does. It was like paint it. If you paint it, they won't come, but they do. They go through the paint, but they have not attacked any of our decking.
Yeah, and if you see a little hole, there's usually an 8-foot long tunnel inside of there. So the structural, over time you can lose a lot of structural integrity from that as well.
So do you need any special equipment to get into staining? I mean, is there anything you need to buy a big bad machine that costs $8,000? What do you need?
Man, you can start with a paintbrush and you can start by spending $100,000. It's like anything else. But I think if you're going at this as a side hustle, let's just say, the way I would jump into it as a side hustle is I would gather some basic things, some masking plastic and tape and a paintbrush, maybe a pump up sprayer, and go start like that. That's really all it takes. And maybe the first job, or you get a deposit on a job, you can go buy your sprayer. And eventually you want to, if you're doing fences especially, you want to start spraying them. And you can go at it like that, or you can go in and we could give you a list of, hey, here's probably the top 25 things you need to put on your truck, and you could spend 10 grand and you could be fully kitted out in business, at a pro way. I've got a van being built out right now, and I've got 3 hose reels. We've got a power washer, we got a stain sprayer, a gas powered stain sprayer, a battery, and then everything else is just hoses and hand tools, and that's kind of it. That's about all it takes.
Good. So if you're a pressure washer, you've got almost all that equipment to begin with.
Yeah.
If you're just starting off, you can go Home Depot and rent a pressure washer. Go wash your first deck. Couple days later, even if you want to spray it, you can go rent a sprayer, and then build your tool money. After a couple of jobs. But yeah, like Caleb said, I mean, you can go buy. I have a friend who bought a 3,200 PSI pressure washer on Facebook Marketplace for $200. And then he bought a little airless sprayer, Greco, for like $80. And so he's got under $300. He's got a washer and a sprayer ready to go. And you can go buy a pump up sprayer if you're starting off. You don't need to buy like a pressure washing rig that, I love watching those things. 12-foot trailer, double axle. It's got a 10 gallon per minute machine, and I'm like, oh, that's sweet, but you really don't need it.
Yeah.
As you scale and grow, then you're going to need all the different things. Like for us, we have a pressure washer on wheels that we drag into certain yards, because if we tried to park a trailer, it would be near impossible, just the way the housing, the suburb is made. And then we actually bought last year a used trailer from a company that went under. That's just a little, I think it's an 8-foot trailer. It's got 2 reels, a wash reel and a hose reel on it, and it's got a pressure washer sitting on there. And we use that because when you're doing fences, it's just nice to not have to drag the pressure washer around the yard. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you can start bare bones and work your way up, as your business grows and the demand grows.
Well, that's a question. I'd have to Google that word. I don't know what that word is, but did you see it, Caleb?
Yeah, he's talking about a bittering agent to keep horses from chewing and cribbing on the wood. Yeah, we can. Maybe he's talking about our fence and barn paint that we make. We were going to put that in there, but when you spray it, it's so irritating because it's got basically pepper in it. It's terrible on your lungs. It's terrible on your eyes, and it's just not fun to spray. So we don't mess with anything like that.
It's like pepper spray yourself while you're in a barn.
Yeah, the shortage may be because there's a lot of fence manufacturers now that are putting it in their wood already.
Well, I think they're using a lot of it in Minneapolis right now.
Yeah.
So everybody's crying? Oh, I got you. Never mind. I just went whoop and came right back down. I got you. Anyway. So awesome. So we're going to pull up. We've got, boy, that went quick. It's almost an hour. Man. We want to pull up the schedule one more time and where they can register to come see us. We're all going to be there, all 4 of us.
Yeah, so go to staininguniversity.com. All the information's there. If you want to attend the event, if you want to be an exhibitor there, if you want to be a sponsor, all of that information's available. All of our exhibitor booths are sold out, but there is next year, and we've got a date already selected for next year. There is probably still 1 or 2 sponsorships available if somebody wanted to jump on that at the last minute. But again, we're going to learn business. We're going to learn planning. We're going to learn how to clean wood, how to stain wood, how to do pre-finishing. We're going to see tons of Q&A answered from experts in the industry, and then plus all of the expo people there that'll be showing off tools, equipment, things like that. Ford trucks, Titan, Graco sprayers, things like that. Trudy, you'll be there. You'll have all kind of power wash stuff there.
I will.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there. We've got a booth. We're going to bring a skid that we just built. We're going to bring all little fancy little gadgets and stuff, and stuff you can use both in both realms of the, you know, the washing and the staining. So we'll have all that out there, and I won't bring my stainless steel experts chemicals because they're already going to be there. So
Yep. So I don't know if you've got, I'm sure they've been in contact with you, but the load in is from noon to 5 p.m. on Tuesday. And so if you're going to park inside, we need to get you in there early.
yes,
And that'll be great.
coming the night before. We're coming on the 2nd.
Perfect.
We'll be there. I think we're like 3 miles from we got
Yeah. So if
right there.
if you can get there before 5, we can get you set up before.
Oh, we'll be there first thing in the morning, so then we can enjoy the rest of the day.
There you go.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's a great event. Last time we went, it snowed. It was not very, it was cold.
It was snowed and cold.
It was snowed and cold. And it's Floridian people and Alabamian people. We don't have the attire for this.
It's going to be 71 and 72 degrees and
beautiful.
sunny. So it's going to be nice. Perfect
Thank
weather.
you.
Cool.
Yeah, the guys from up in Minnesota will be down there in shorts and tank tops.
Yeah, I know, right?
They're
I'll
in
be-
shorts and tank tops when it's 30 degrees.
I'll be in a hoodie. It's going to be cold for me. But anyway, thank you guys for being on here. And Justin, did you want to say anything before we got
I will say something in humor towards the Caleb's natural defender thing. It does not take care of Karens.
Oh,
Oh.
We're
no.
working on that, Justin. Give us another 6 months.
We tried it with one neighbor, and the customer replied back to us and said it didn't work on Karen. But
Yeah, I
gnats
think we need to add some lavender oil in it, and it will probably fix that.
Yeah.
it fixed her gnats and it fixed her mosquito issue, but Karen still keeps coming around.
I tell you, a red nozzle to the face works every time. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. That was not nice. I don't do that. I don't hurt people.
Well, if anybody wants to find out about the event, you can come the day of the show. You can get a ticket at the door, but we encourage you to call ahead and call our office. Our phone numbers all over the place. It's 615-785-1861. We got people standing by to take your phone call if you got staining questions, if you got product questions, if you're using another brand of stain and you're in trouble and you got a question about it, we'll help you with that too. If you want to get your ticket, get there. If you want to become a pro partner to work with us as a contractor, I recommend doing that. Justin's been a pro partner for years, and come see us right outside of Nashville next week.
Hey guys, get over there and get registered to get in here at the Stainless Steel University. It's going to be a great time. Come out, fellowship with everybody, do some networking, contact with everybody, and we're going to have a good time.
There you go. And we're giving away a Graco sprayer. I haven't mentioned this.
Oh,
But yeah, we got a Graco sprayer somebody's going to go home with.
Well, wait, I'll definitely pay for my husband to take the classes because he needs them.
There you go.
He doesn't watch me on here, so it's fine. I can say that. But if he does, never mind. We'll just leave it.
Hi guys, we'll see y'all next week.
Thank y'all so much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
See you Wednesday. Bye. Thank you, Justin. Thank you,
Thank
Karen.
you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.